no-brainer. Okay, anyway,
Yeah, but then the other question was, I know at the last meeting we talked, because Chris and I, our conversations was about 20,000 a year that we had been discussing on, was that both water and wastewater, Chris, or just one of those? Do you recall?
Well, let me just go right to your budget. I think I saw you had said you wanted to put a line item budget of 20 grand for sewer.
Okay,
And I'm going to share my screen because I do have this document up. Yeah, you had said that you wanted to put, this year you had 20 grand in both water and sewer.
yeah,
But we had also talked about 100,000 a year in pipe replacement. So that probably comes from the capital improvements.
yep,
So we could look at it as, we're probably gonna have to put away 100,000. I mean, this 100,000 for pipes,
gotcha.
I don't know if we want to think of it as like a capital improvements or just money you're gonna spend. If there is something you want to take out of the capital improvements plan, then we can do that.
When I was the one who suggested 100,000, and I think everybody agreed. No one disagreed, if I could say that. I thought that was part of the pipes. So.
Well, yeah. So here's where you've got the pipes here, which is just something that Keith wants to do.
Okay.
But then again, we have these reserves up here, this row here, which is replacement of the existing assets and then replacement of the, additional future capital assets. And so, yeah, you can see the 57 and 44. That's where you get.
Scroll down again, Chris. So Keith, was it 100,000 per year or 100,000 because of the knowing what we need and then less years after that?
Yeah, so I don't think we got into that much definition the last meeting, but.
Yeah, and I can show you what that looks like. It's not the same every year because you have different costs coming up at each year, but it depends when it does look like you have some future costs that are coming up right away. So yeah.
hey, Keith, I need to inject something in. I need to find out this fact that we don't have a quorum here. How does that affect us?
Yeah,
Can we not really talk about this too much?
well, no,
I know it's good to share some ideas, but I'm worried about what the impact is by not having at least one more out there.
yeah,
And I still don't show a third one.
yeah. So yeah, we set this meeting up under the umbrella of a special meeting / work session. And so we kind of have to follow the guidelines that is in our SDA manual.
I know that's why I'm asking.
Yeah. And this came up at the last meeting too, where we were like, okay, can we just share information? But the bottom line is, yeah, we're still kind of under that umbrella,
Okay.
but
Okay,
I don't
maybe-
even, if we can't seem to get a quorum together, we can't ever talk about that.
okay, well,
that's the
maybe,
problem.
may I make a suggestion? If Chris could basically give us the 2 or 3 questions that he feels that we would each individually would have to answer to give a clear direction of what we would like to see as like 100,000 per year, whatever, and have all 5 board members answer that. That would allow Chris to come back and say, well, based on your answers, this is what I would suggest that you do. And then maybe, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I'm just trying to.
Well, do we want to stick around at least until like 1:30 to see if Somebody got the time?
I'm fine. Like I told Keith, since if I could pull this off, being up here, I was gonna do it if at all possible. So I wasn't about to back out of this one.
Yeah.
And being that the weather's kind of cool out there and I can't go swimming, so. The grandkids are upstairs playing with the dogs. They just came and got them out.
Um,
But you have nothing but free time right now, Tony.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
could be upstairs playing with my grandkids.
I know, I hear you. I hear you loud and clear.
Anyway, no, I just want to see if we can move things just a little bit further down the road and make some use out of this time. That's what I'm trying to say in a way. I know there's only two of us here from the board. But Keith, I think a lot of this needs to be suggestions coming from you. Since you did the long 5-year plan, knowing what's already in there and how that ties to what Chris is doing, which I think is pretty much along the same wavelengths. To where the decision for the board becomes an easier one without having to trudge all the way through this. Not saying that you put a lot of effort into this, Chris, and we appreciate that. So you're giving us ways to go. But I just think we need to get this thing moving.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess to follow the rules of the Open Meeting Sunshine Act, if Keith and I were to continue this meeting and discuss what he and I feel are the best recommendations,
Bingo.
and then present it to the board, and then the board says yes or no, change this.
Right. Something like that, I think will be a lot of helpful to try to get some use out of what you've done.
Mhm.
And for,
But I think generally, the board was in favor of, yes, putting money into capital improvements.
oh, yes, I think we
Yeah.
have to do that. I mean, to me, there's certain things that have never been done in the past for the metro that we just need to create a new standard. Well, I shouldn't say we, Keith created a new standard for us, and we just need to put those pieces into play.
And between you is 100,000 a year. And the reason I brought that up again is because that's what I thought would be a good number, but maybe it needs to be 140,000 a year, knowing that 100 for the pipes and then 20 and 20 for the water and sewer. So,
Well,
Between-
hang on, Candace, I do believe the 100,000 for water is just for water pipes, and I
okay,
think on the water side, there is also, do we also put 100,000 there?
I don't think,
okay. Oh, I thought it was total.
Well, the sewer owes, it looks like sewer owes water 50,000, but that's not a debt, that's not debt reserve. Okay, so we didn't do that. We just put 20,000 for sewer. So yeah, I guess it was not that, oh, you were more accurate there, what you were saying.
Yeah, because the sewer, I
But
think, the
the
biggest thing.
$20,000 is this year. What you're putting in this year. But what's being put in, and this is water, is you have the existing replaced assets and then the new stuff. So, you know, if we put a line item in there for pipes, we also have what the capital improvements is telling us to do. If that makes sense.
Mhm.
yeah, so, right, existing capital assets, which is everything above that, which is vehicles and equipment and all those different types of things, and then the CIP, which
Uh-huh,
is included in that as well.
yeah.
So that there, in my mind, are the big things that we need to make sure we cover in the rates that we're establishing. And then outside of that, if we feel like we should put some away in cash reserves as well, you know, because at some point we're going to need to get loans in the future. So I think we need to have enough in cash reserves in order for it to be, you know, if we use it as a matching grant equivalent, or, you know, something of that nature, we need to make sure we have enough in cash reserves.
Yep.
I liked that some of the numbers you had in 5 years, we were in the black, for
Yeah.
towards our plan. That's short for a community. That's short for a district, 5 years. So that I thought was great. But I bow to both of your judgments.
Okay.
You're the experts on this. You deal with that every day, you know what's happening, to come up with a number that you feel the district makes sense. So that's just my personal opinion.
And one of the
Keith,
things
Sorry.
too, we can look at too, Tony, is, I know that we have a board member or two that is part of, like the recreation committee and those types of things. If we want to have, the next meeting that Chris and I have, if we want to have a board member as part of that as well, then, I'm open to that.
Yeah, I'm open to anything that will move this thing along. Like, one clarification issue to make sure, Chris, you are aware that we have an infiltration problem in the sewer system from outside waters coming in.
Yeah, through leaking pipes, we have,
Yeah.
the capital improvements plan for the sewer has infiltration, spending at 60 grand for several years.
Yeah,
Okay, because we did increase that, like we talked about, Keith.
yes,
That's what I was really, okay.
yeah,
Because the sooner we get on that, the better it's gonna be for us, because it keeps us from blowing those percentages out of the water that we get to deal with the state on.
In the
yeah. So
spring,
even this
yes.
year, we increased the budget from 20 grand to 40 grand. So we doubled
Okay.
it this year alone. So,
All right, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I'm still on the same page there.
yeah.
One thing nice about getting older, you always have to say things twice and it still doesn't ring a bell.
Is there enough time, Chris, for you to do that before you leave on your sabbatical?
Well, I could meet with Keith right now after this and we could provide the recommendation of the one scenario that we both agree on, not being, limited by the Sunshine Act. Him and I can speak freely and make suggestions, present it to the board in a document. They could, thumb it up, thumb it down.
I think it would make the most sense so that we can actually proceed with this thing and get off the dime. I do apologize for my past absences, but some things I just can get around. You okay with that, Keith?
Yeah, I'm totally okay with that. Yep.
Hey guys,
All right,
this is
so-
Mark. Sorry, I was late. I was able to get back into Pagosa Springs where I got a cell signal. But am I hearing that you guys have honed in on one of the scenarios?
No, Mark, what we did is we're gonna let Keith and Chris basically go through the different scenarios and come up with the recommended one that we can have it.
Okay.
Well, is it
Okay.
possible to, now that we have another board member on the phone to work through that with the board officially then?
Mark, we didn't have a quorum, so we were trying to do things to step ahead and maybe get things done via email. Derek and Mandy aren't here, so can you stay with us a while?
Yes, I can. I drove all the way in here for that reason, so I can be with you the rest of the meeting. I apologize. I was a little late.
No, we're glad you're here. So Chris, then, knowing that you wanted to meet with Keith, but we're looking at between 100 and 140,000 thrown into capital. Are any of your scenarios got that covered?
Yeah, I think we do have that. So let me just walk through these. Scenario one is 240,000 in capital improvements.
And you're on water
Um,
right now, right, Chris?
What's that?
Are you on water or we're just talking?
This is water. Yeah, this is water. Do we want to start with water or?
That's just all right. We'll follow your track.
Okay. So scenario one is where we had we kind of picked the numbers we thought would be best in the default funding here. at 100%, 25, 15, and 2% for really large costs. And that's where we got the 214,000. And this is your base rate. So
Hey,
with
Chris, I
scenario,
have a question. I have a
Yep.
question about the scenarios. You indicated on most of those that for the larger projects, there would be 85% grant funding. But I thought when we talked with you a few weeks ago, you said our district is very unlikely to get any grant. So is that an
Yeah.
unrealistic number?
that is realistic. I think I might have changed that in the, let me see if I've changed that in the model since then. Yeah, I have changed that in the model since then. That was a relic.
Okay.
And I'll just make sure I did that in the sewer side too.
Good catch, Mark.
Yeah, I have, it's not safe to bet on getting grants, because it's only gonna lower the loan amount. But so let me go back to the scenarios here. So when we fund this at these large costs, $500,000 and up at 2%, that's where we get just huge, that's where we get a huge capital investment. And 214,000 it sounds like that's above you guys. So scenario 2, so that is where we have, so let me just read scenario 1. So in order to make up the deficit of 1.6 million, that is what your current rates would be missing or default in if we say we want that $214,000 saved in 2022 and whatever it is in 23 and 24, but somewhere in that price range. So the $28 has to go up to $61.25 to balance the budget. If we just do the 3% increase, you can get down to 57.36, and we balance the budget over 5 years. So I got that the board likes the 3% increase on the base and the usage. Does that sound right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
that's
now,
what we talked about.
so 57.36, that's scenario 2. That is putting away that 214,000-ish per year. Scenario 3 is where you guys had said, well, we'd like to see what 100K a year would do. And that takes, we had, 15 or 25 and then 15 and then 2% here. And now it's significantly less, but we're down to $52 a month from 57 with that reduction from 214 to 100. And it's not exactly 100, when you use these pretty round numbers here, you're not going to get a round number as the output.
I'm sorry, so 28 would go up to $52?
$52 is the scenario where you're putting away 100,000 in capital reserves. And I think this also, we'll look at the budget on that, but I believe in that scenario, we're still also putting 100,000 into pipes every year. So now scenario 4, what that's doing is that's going to build, it's building on scenario 3, but we're changing the tiers a little bit. Before it was at 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 350, 750, 7 to 375. So if we tighten these tiers down, the usage, there might be some effect where some people will use a little less water because they want to save the money. But if we change the tiers to this setup here, and that's going to help offset some of those, the larger rate increase that you need. That takes it down to 48.36. So we've done we've done three big things here to get to this scenario. We've added some default funding or reserve funding, and in this case, it's around $100,000. We're changing the rates every year and the usage rate. We're increasing that by inflation every year. And we've tightened up these tiers. Right? So instead of before, customer got 5,000 gallons free, now they get 3,000 gallons free. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, one thing,
Yep.
Chris, we talked about, instead of 3% inflation increase per year, we kind of threw out a 5% increase because I think Mark may have been the one that Googled that and found out that the cost of inflation is actually higher than 3% and closer to 5%.
No, he was recommending 2 point something, and I think we were talking that the actual inflation rate has been closer to 3. Now, all bets are off for the future. I mean, with what's going on right now, we could see some more inflation, and we might need higher. But is that something we can address later?
We can, let's say, yes, we've seen inflation 5%. I think as a board, you could raise it then
I think
5%.
Mhm.
But I think.
I
we
mean,
have to get
I
this-
would, if the board likes that posture and that general idea, I would ask your attorney if you can put something into the ordinance that he will draw up that says, the board is, or the staff shall make a determination on, realistic inflation and raise the rates annually accordingly, or,
Yeah, we'd have to,
We
nail-
could tie we could tie it to the CPI also.
Yeah,
That would be an after the fact, but at the end of the year, you could look at the CPI and say, okay, last year inflation was only 2%. We're only going to raise the rates 2%. If we have a year where it's 5%, then we could raise them 5%.
okay.
we'd have to tie it to something that is basically measured by somebody that we can rely on
yes.
and feel comfortable with. So that, and to do that once a year, I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that, especially if you do it in the wintertime.
Okay, so scenario 4.
Scenario
We're tightening the tiers,
Yep.
but we're also adding 100,000 reserve.
Yes, and I just want to point out, I did put this in my notes here in this document, that the 100,000 in reserves is in addition to the 100,000 for pipes.
For
So
water, the water.
for water, yeah, but on sewer, no.
Plus, got it, plus 100,000.
So
Okay.
the scenario Keith was mentioning is scenario 6, where we're not doing 3%, but doing 5%. And if we were to raise it 5%, that would be 47. And yeah, I get that this group here is sort of saying, well, inflation keeps our head above water as the water rises. I met with another group last week, and they wanted to see scenarios at 10% increase each year, so that they wouldn't have to double their rates all at once, and they could sort of ease the pain felt by their customers. So yes, this is a great tool. This growth factor of the rates and the usage for staying ahead of inflation, but it's also a way to more easily raise the rates to where they need to be in the 5 years.
I love scenario 4, just putting it out there.
Scenario
Yeah,
4.
I like scenario 4 too, but one question I have with regards to that, you just mentioned, Chris, that somebody else, they wanted to raise their rates 10% a year until they got to break even. Could we do something like that? And would that break us even in 5 years? And from that point forward, then we adjust according to CPI? Could we do some kind of scenario like that?
I mean, I can run that for you right now. We'll have to wait for my computer to kind of chug along, but
While
I
you're
can
doing
do-
that, can you put scenario 4 up on the screen?
Yeah.
So we can see the results of the new rate?
Yeah, and the reason I'm asking that is because if we double the rates at once, I mean, that's really a huge chunk for people. But if you start increasing it gradually until you get where you need to be, and then you cut it back to a maintenance level increase
Mhm.
every year, I think that would be more palatable.
Okay, well, let's see where we are with 10%.
It's still not gonna, so I'm just quick math. So they're paying 28, the next year, the next month, the next year it would be 31, 35, 39, 43. We're not getting to that $48 for just water in
Yeah.
5 years.
Well, no, I think in that construct, it's not like we're using the base rate to ramp up from where we are. We need to have a little bit of a jump up and then keep going
I
up, if
gotcha.
that makes
Is that
sense.
what you were
Okay.
thinking, Mark?
That would work for me. I mean, yeah, I just wanted to increase it a little more gradually than just at one big jump doubling it. I think it would be better. It would be kinder and gentler just to gradually increase it. So yeah, and an initial jump followed by 10% till we get to break even, that sounds reasonable to me.
But I think he's showing. Okay, wait. he just
So,
changed it. Okay,
With that 10%, I'm gonna try to find where the rates can be. And, you know, there's a lot of data that's being calculated in the background in this spreadsheet, so it
Yeah.
takes about a minute each time.
okay. We gotta explain it to Mark because he's just on phone.
Okay, Mark, yeah, I'm running this scenario right now where
Yeah, great.
we put 10% in for the base rate each year. And I left the usage increase at 3%.
Okay.
Because if you know, when you do mess with the tiers and the prices of them, you will see some kind of reaction in people conserving, fixing the leaky toilet, and so you might sell less water
Yeah, that's fine.
for some customers. Okay, so I think we're gonna be able to go down to $42. Let's see what that does. Keith, do you like this idea of a smaller initial step and then bigger continual steps?
Yeah, I like that a whole lot, just because it's, you know, going in position with a lot of folks is that it's like, okay, we're increasing rates but we're not killing everyone, you know, a large portion of the population right at the onset.
Yeah.
But then we let them also know that for every year in the next 4 or 5 years, there will be an increase in order to pay for everything that we need to pay for that we have coming up. I love it. Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
I agree. Sorry, guys, I was on mute and I didn't realize it. I had a quick question. How many average gallons or how many gallons is the average household using per month in Forest Lakes right now?
Jamie, do you know what that is by chance? Jamie or Barb?
Everybody pretty much stays under the 5,000 gallons.
Yeah, but do you know what the average is?
Average use for everybody?
Yeah, I was thinking
Overall,
average was around 2,500, isn't it?
That feels like it's about right, but
it would depend on the time of the year too,
true.
because it really varies.
I thought Chris had that when we talked to him a few weeks ago. I thought he was able to look and see what that average was.
We're
What
looking
what
at
average are you asking for? The average usage?
Yeah,
Yes.
average water usage.
Per month.
I don't know that.
month.
Because you were saying the price would go up over 1,000 gallons, right? In addition to the
No,
rate
it goes up.
increase?
3,000.
It goes up over 3,000 gallons.
Okay, so 1 to 3,000 would be the same.
Correct.
No,
Okay.
1 to
Well, with-
3,000, they're still gonna get, Manny, 1 to 3,000 will be a different base number. Over 3,000.
Yeah, they'll still get an increase, but the standard usage will be 1 to 3,000 instead of, 0 to 3,000 instead of 0 to 5,000.
Correct.
Yes.
But that wouldn't really impact that many people because, like you said, most are staying around 2,500, right? So
The
that should,
base rate is going up.
Yeah,
right.
it'll affect them when they're watering. For those people that water, that's going to affect them. But that's incentive to.
Which I'm fine with that. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally incentive to clean that up and not use as much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't write down the average.
So, yeah, this is the average bill for the regular customers, not for the River Ranch or whatever it is. And how it would look. So that would be,
Oh, you're showing us the increase. Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so are you guys seeing something on the screen?
He just switched back. Yeah, so he showed, the address, what they pay now, what the first year, how much they would pay, and then years after that, subsequent years after that.
Okay.
He just took it off. That was
It still didn't show the average usage per gallon though, right?
Yeah, and that might be deeper somewhere in the model. I have average cost, which is, taking into account the base plus the usage averaged out.
Okay, that's fine. I shouldn't bog us down with that at this point.
No, that was a good question. But yeah, so everyone understands the base rate. So I'm putting this down as a new scenario to scenario 4. So
Like 4A or
$28,
something.
$28 is what they're paying now just for water. We're just talking water. It would jump to 42. And then after that, 10%. And
Until we
we're
get to break
tightening-
even.
I'm sorry, and then we're tightening the tiers. So the 0 to 3,000 is included in that base rate. And then
Right.
Chris, what is it? 3,001 to 5?
I think I went 6.
Okay, 6. And then 6,001 to higher. And were those also increased? So the more you use over 6,000, they're paying more than the person from 3,001 to 5,000?
Just on that
There it is.
that 4th, 5th, and 6,000th gallon, yes.
Okay.
Just curious,
So-
is there any way for residents to actually track their water usage?
In
Is
the
there any way
monthly
for them to see
billing,
what they're using real time?
Yeah.
But that's
I
like
think
after
there
it happens,
are,
right?
I think there are products out there, but a meter, a water meter costs probably, I don't know, a couple $100 and then a plumber to install it, another couple $100. I'm sure there are smart meters out there for homeowners who want to know what they're consuming.
Otherwise, you just get it retroactively, right, on your statement?
Yeah.
That's correct.
I'm just wondering if there's any way we could help residents so that they don't get sticker shock if they go way over 1 month and didn't realize it. You know what I mean? Is there
Well,
any
when we
way
make-
to like,
well, when we make, keep into account here, when we make changes, okay, it's not gonna happen overnight. We have to publish the changes. It's gonna take a couple of months to implement it. So if people want to track what they've been doing in the past, look at your bills now. You know what's gonna happen in the future.
And I'm sure that we'll be putting some stuff online too to explain the rate increase and the need for it and how it's going to impact you. So I think education has got to be a big part of this.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So it's not gonna be an overnight switch.
Good. I think we should start that narrative now with people like, hey, pay attention to how much water you're using because we're going to limit this. I feel like education starting now would be a good idea.
We're not gonna limit it, we're just gonna charge you more when you use more. So they should limit it.
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay.
So I think we're
Do
looking,
we have a quorum? Do we like that idea? The new
I think-
4A,
4A is what I got circled here.
okay? You
Doing the
two,
10% increase till we get break even, starting at 42 and then putting in the tier.
Well, we're not, my model's still
buffering?
calculating away. I'm not sure. It might be 43 bucks that it has to be.
Well, that's fine. We'll wait until you finish the calculations and we'll
Yes.
know for sure what the number has to be. And I think I'm in favor of going with that then too.
Okay, Mandy?
This is not a final, this is not a final vote anyway. This is just basically the preference one that we have to go to get approved. And then basically put everything else together that goes around it.
Yep, to move forward.
Okay.
So option 4A.
Okay,
So that, maybe that didn't calculate the last couple of times. I think we went way over with 43 bucks. So maybe it will be closer to 42.
Well, when you get to the final piece, final cut, and when your computer is done calculating, you can just share it with us. We can all
Well,
take a look
so
at
you
it.
like this? I'll put this into, I'll save this as the board's preference.
Right.
And do we want to do similar with the wastewater, or do we want to kind of explore more there?
I think from a matter of consistency, I think we should probably try to apply that same perspective there. Because I think the more consistent we are with this whole process, the less bullets we're gonna see being.
I agree.
yeah. Can you show us
I
numbers
agree too.
of what it is and what it is gonna jump to?
Hey, Chris, can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
Hey, so on tap fees,
Uh-huh.
so your model doesn't look at tap fees.
No, I just a line item budget for me.
Yeah, so I guess, so what's your thought about, because I know compared to what I paid for tap fee where we're at versus what we're charging, our tap fees are pretty low, so just kind of looking around and see what other folks are charging. I mean, what's your thought process on tap?
That looking around to see what other people are charging is probably it's good for selling the rate increases, you know, when you're comparing it to other communities down the street. As far as trying to determine where the price really should be, I think you need to, you know, that's a good indicator, but if you're seeing that you're, you know, the net loss is going, you know, in this case, it's going down, and then you're having you know, you're on a good trajectory with your revenues after this year. You're making up for previous years, but you're doing good, and that's because that's the nature of the 10% increase, right?
Mhm.
Hey,
think-
I'm showing that Derek is on.
No, that's fine. The other thing we need to throw into the equation that we do not do today, and I think is very well justified, is do the turn off, turn on. Come up with a flat fee for anybody who wants that water turned off or turned on by us. Even though
Yeah.
homes,
And Tony, my impression is that somebody doesn't have, they don't cheat the system or get a deal if they say they're part-time and they're using full-time amounts of water. It costs them more. But what I think is important is that you're wasting your staff's time when you don't have a fee for
Yeah,
that service.
Yeah,
I think we should have a fee. And I think in that little scenario,
Yeah.
Keith, that I threw out there, I did identify who had a turn on, turn off fee. And I think we need to just
Yeah.
implement that as part of our structure when we do it.
better believe it. That's key. Because O and M.
yeah, there's definitely a cost.
Oh, yeah, O and M right now, I mean, and these are for folks out of convenience that are going to Arizona for the winter. They'll call us and ask us to turn their water off versus going down to their shut off in their basement. So, yeah, we're just throwing money down the drain.
Okay.
Yeah, agreed.
Like I said, I noticed Derek was on. Are you up to par, Derek, on the scenario most of us agreed with?
Yeah, absolutely. I heard enough that, like I say, option 4A looks good to me. And I think even though it's not apples to apples kind of comparison, I think that education piece is huge, because if you can point out other developments like Edgemont, Dringo West, whatever it is, and look at their rates, I think that gives people at least a basis for why we're doing what we're doing and why the increase. So I just want to toss that out there too. I think it's good to have that comparison, because people, I think, need to see that right now, currently the rates are a pretty sweet deal. So
And Chris should have some additional info for all the metro areas that he works with.
yeah,
Some
Yeah.
additional comparison info is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, no, that's like I say, it may not be apples to apples kind of thing, and maybe it is, but I think that just helps people to see that, because the automatic reaction you see an increase in the rates is one of, what are they doing? Why are they doing that? What's the justification? And I think, I mean, again, I won't get into the whole thing about water and water shortages and that kind of thing. I think most people understand that and can see that and feel that, but I think having that extra comparison visually for people to see, I think is going to take a lot of that, minimize the bullets, as Keith said.
Yeah, well, we've fallen behind over the years because we haven't been regularly increasing rates, and nobody's done a good, thorough rate study like this. I think we're just playing catch up.
Yeah,
Agreed.
yeah.
Okay, so this is kind of curious, but both the base rates look to be right at about $43 for water and sewer.
Okay, what was it before for sewer?
For sewer before, you were at $29.50.
Yes.
Okay,
So now
Okay.
43,
okay.
and
So roughly
for,
the same amount of increase in.
I didn't catch that, roughly the same what?
I said roughly the same amount of increase. Water's going from 28 something and sewer's going from 29 something. Both of them
Oh, yeah.
approximately 43.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
And let me just see where the CIP, and the CIP for the water is at 125. So it's, and I think that was actually, with this recommended numbers for what we save, as opposed to with the water, we didn't get there. We had to cut this in half and reduce these numbers. So with the sewer, I mean, your reserve targets are looking really quite good.
And just for my clarification, because obviously for people who are connected to sewer, people who have a septic system, that there's two different bills that are received, correct?
Right.
Okay, so it's just that whole, I get people bending my ear, and full disclosure, I'm on septic too, so it's just making sure that, people who are on sewer are going to feel that, and people who are on septic are not.
Right.
That is true. Yeah.
well, it's the same percentage increase though. for people that have both and people that just have one, we're still increasing at about the same percentage.
Right.
I think when you,
I'll
when
go,
we do,
just quick math,
Um,
I'll go from 79.25 because I have sewer to about $108. So about a $30, $29, $30 rate.
I
increase.
think one of the things we need to educate people on top of the hill, that there are people that are on sewer and what their increase is, of course, like we're talking about. But they also need to be brought aware that those of us that are on septic tanks, part of our tax dollars that goes through Metro is paying for part of our sewer for everybody else. Let those people know that, hey, the reason that it may not be as big as other outlying areas is because the rest of us are contributing towards the sewer piece.
Yeah.
Because our tax revenue that we get each month from property taxes, part of that,
Right.
part of everybody's property tax goes into the sewer.
But
Yeah.
that's La Plata County. Don't, I
No,
wouldn't
no, no, no,
go
no,
there.
no,
That's La
no.
Plata County. They can
No,
fight
no.
with them.
Carissa, no, you're wrong. La Plata County basically collects our property tax, okay? Part of my property tax that goes back through into Metro that we collect money from, part of that goes towards sewer when we do put it in our budget. We do not split in our budget people with and without sewer.
They can call La Plata County.
Oh, you're wrong, so forget it. You can call anybody you want to. Keith, jump in here for a second.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yep, yep. So you want me to jump right in the middle of that between you and Carissa? Is that what I'm hearing?
No, when we do the education process, we need to
Yeah.
let people know that the sewer users are getting a benefit from the septic tank users.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Pay their taxes, but not FLMD fees.
It's not a fee. I'm not talking about the fees. I'm talking about the property tax income,
I know.
not a fee.
It's
All right.
Yep, yep. So.
All right, well, so
Chris,
it sounds
hopefully-
like we've kind of narrowed it down to a decision on both of these. I will clean this up, put it in a document that's simple, and you can make a, official decision at your next meeting if you want, or have public comment about it. But I'll get those scenarios out to you this week, probably tomorrow. And we can move from there.
Yeah, so one thing, yep, sounds great, Chris. So Carissa, so you talked about the average increase from 79.25 to I think 103, I believe.
I just threw that out.
No, it's okay. Because the point being there, because within that rate structure, we have road maintenance fee, we have trash, and we also have mailbox.
Right.
So trash right now does not sustain itself.
Oh, okay.
Well, only because when that trash rate fee was established, we did not have a brush and slash pile at that time. So, and we are spending a lot of time on the brush and slash pile. So that fee has got to increase as well. Roads, I know what we get in the HUST yearly from La Plata County, that highway user state tax fee, whatever that is. That's far inadequate to what it is actually costing us to maintain the roads. So that $10.25 needs to increase as well. And then on the mailbox fee, we're only charging $1 per lot. And since in my tenure, we've got mailboxes that we have replaced. We've got concrete slabs that had to be replaced. So that is also a facility that we're not charging adequately for the required level of maintenance that is required to go into it. So
Plus electric and security.
what's that now?
Plus electric and security.
Yes.
We changed the bulbs. They washed it down besides that maintenance, and we've
Yeah.
had to add those cameras,
Yes.
part of the mailbox.
Yes. So the increase would be a little bit more than up to 103, but yes.
So you're going to give that information to Chris then, so he can feed it in his scenario?
I don't know, Chris, do you look at those items, Chris, or is that,
I typically, I mean, I never have.
yeah,
I'd probably
Okay.
have to go to, and it'd be a question, for my management, and it'd probably be, something I would not really be able to start until September.
Okay,
I
well,
have
Well,
provided Keith with a tool though that, he's been able to fill in the data for the capital improvements for the roads and those future costs there. So, it's roads and
Let me
mailboxes.
can I
And
make a
trash.
suggestion? Can I make a suggestion here? Hang
Yeah.
on, before we take this thing out of proportion, let's focus on the water and sewer like we have and come up with these two scenarios. Present that as a
Okay.
package. And once we start the budget process in September, then let's get into these other paraphernalia pieces of what we need to make the budget balance and give that to the consumers and the residents. As part of our budget process, we're gonna have to do this, this, and this to make the budget work. No,
That sounds good.
get on two separate tracks.
Yeah, well, no,
Okay.
I appreciate that, Tony, to stay focused and, knock out what we can and what's in front of us. But I was just saying that, that the piece of the model, that's the capital improvements piece, that is a separate document that Keith has for water, roads, sewer. There's like lights and internet and
Yeah.
other things.
That's,
One of those
that's
might.
fine. I didn't,
But
I
what
didn't mean
that
to
can
start the
give,
hornet's
what that
nest.
can give the board in budget time is what are those future costs that are coming for those other enterprises and how much you're gonna need to put away for that.
yeah, no, I agree with Tony's suggestion. I only asked the question because I didn't know if it would or wouldn't be in there. That's fine. If that's separate and that's part of the budgeting process, no problem.
All right, my intern just showed up.
Hello.
Teach them young, teach them
Ah,
young,
What's that?
teach them young.
Teach
yeah.
him, yeah, he's gonna love looking at spreadsheets. Well, so I think we have a real good path forward, to at least narrowing down, maybe some of the board members who couldn't make it today have a strong need to see a different variation of something. And I can
So
change.
we're all on.
Everyone-
All of the board members are on.
Yeah,
Oh, everybody's on now. Okay,
Yes.
great. Well, I'll put that out there and you guys let me know, you slept on it, you like it, you vote on it, keep me informed.
Okay, Chris, thank you very much for your extended time. Enjoy your
Sounds good.
sabbatical.
I will.
Take care of that little one.
It will be the hardest job you have the next 2 months.
I
Take
know,
care of
right?
him.
did you say
All
the
right.
next 21 years? Is that what you said, Chris?
Just the next 21 years, yeah.
As a mother, yes.
All right, everyone. I'll be in touch soon.
Thank
Okay,
you so
Chris,
much
thank
for your
you.
help.
Thanks.
Perfect.
Bye.
Thank you all. Well, we lost him. I
Yeah,
don't think, we don't need a consensus or a board quorum or anything else, so we did accomplish what we had to do.
yeah.
So,
I disagree with Tony. I say we hit everybody with all our rates. That's just we talked to them about the mailbox and what it's costing.
let's tie that to the budget where the expenses are.
I'm sorry.
I think we need to tie it to the budget where the expenses are. We need to talk about the budget anyway come September. And that's where Keith can talk about how much we actually spent for the year, how much we did in the past and where we're going in the future. Whether a buck becomes $2 or $1.75, whatever. But
Well,
there's a lot more details to the water and sewer.
I agree, but I think what Chris is saying is that the whole rate increase, we look at rates across the board in order so everyone knows about all of them at one time versus piecemeal. Is that what you're
You
saying?
can
And I
make
agree with that.
whatever you guys decide.
Well, I mean, we deal with the actual rate during the budget, but yeah, as we start telling everybody that we need a rate increase and here's why, then we just tell them that we need it in all these areas.
Yeah,
Well, telling that we need other areas addressed is one thing. Talking about what they are is something else.
Correct.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. And-
Anyway, that's it.
I agree in this scenario. I think the more we do, if we do a big increase now and then in 3 months, we're like, hey guys, we also have to increase this and this, people are going to start to get
Yeah,
worn down. I think it's
Well-
better to hit them all at once. Like we've got them coming. Maybe we don't give them the exact figure right now, but at least let them know we're going to be raising this rate. These things aren't paying for themselves.
That's a
I
board,
think we're all saying the same thing.
that's a board meeting issue. That's the one we triggered it, so. And this is not a board meeting. All right. I don't have
Something
anything
to
else.
discuss since we were all here. It's been rare that we haven't been all here, so, but that's fine. We'll add it to an agenda.
All right, guys, enjoy the rest of the week. I'm gonna see if I can track my grandkids down.
okay, sounds awesome.
Bye.
Thank you all for being here.
Okay. All right. Have a
Okay,
good one.
Right.
you
Okay,
too.
guys.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.